You mentioned earlier that you, when I was talking about poetry, that you wrote poetry about things other than boxing.
Right.
Do you ever write about this side of you?
Well, I wrote a poem concerning the Attica prisoner killing the other day, when this actually didn't happen, but it explains how the black brothers felt who died that day out there in that prison. The warden Rockefeller sent word, shoot to kill if they don't give up in 5 minutes. And the white wardens who had all the guns trained on the black men said, if you don't surrender, if you don't come out now, we will kill all of you. You got 5 minutes. And what's your reply? And a black man came out and he said, better far from all we see, to die fighting to be free. What more fitting end could be? Better surely than in bed, where in broken health we're led, lingering until we're dead. Better than with prayers and pleas, or in the clutch of some disease, wasting slowly by degrees. Better than of heart attack, or some dose of drug we lack. Let us die by being black. Better far that we should go, standing here against the foe. Is the sweeter death to know? Better than the bloody stain on some highway where we are lame, torn by flying glass and pain. Better call in death to come than to die another dumb, muted black man in the slum. Better than of this prison rot, if there's any choice we have got, kill us today on the spot. Better far our fight to wage now while our blood boils with rage, lest it cool with ancient age. Better violent for us to die than to give up and Uncle Tom and try, making peace just to live a lie. Better if we say our sooth, we gonna die today demanding truth, while we're still akin to youth. Better now than later on, now that fear of death is gone. Never mind another darn. You know what happened after that? They killed them. But they died right there for freedom. One thing, and to show that those black brothers, when they said they've been mistreated in prison, behind the closed doors, they had a good point, and I believe them. They were treating unhuman because the officials of that prison said unto the world that they sliced the throats of the guards, and that's when they shot. But the doctor, who was also white, gave the black men justice. He could have sliced the throats and just said it since they were dead. But he said not one throat was sliced. So the prison officials lied to the world, said that them men sliced the throats before he shot them. If they lied to the world, what did they do to them men behind the bars every day before this was revealed, right?
Can I ask you, what do you see your own place very clearly as an athlete and as a figure in this particular dispute we've been talking about? What about other black athletes, Mohammed, like, say, take Patterson as an example, or
what Patterson?
The others, Floyd Patterson?
Oh, he's completely opposite from me.
Yes.
He ain't no way like me.
Yes, precisely, that's why I'm asking you about him. What do you think about the other black athletes like them, who in their time have had influence, or would have been in a position to have influenced people, their own people and this sort of thing, about their attitude, which is certainly slightly less moderate than yours, or slightly more moderate rather than yours?
Well, they go down in history just been athletes. They don't. I'm giving more praise and credit for what I'm just doing now on this show than coming here and beating 5-year-old English champions.
Oh, at the same time.
Because right now, black people, when you show this show, are home jumping, home shouting, because they don't have the nerve to say what I'm saying, and nobody has never said it, and they're just so happy to see a black man who will stand up and jeopardize every quart he's got to tell the truth. So, like Floyd Patterson and other fighters, they just don't take part. They make $1 million, they get them a Rolls Royce, they get them a nice home, they get them a white wife. Well, I made it, America's great, and the rest of them catching hell, and he won't say nothing. But when one man of popularity can let the world know the problem, he might lose a few dollars himself telling the truth, might lose his life. But he's helping millions. But if I kept my mouth shut just because I can make millions, and then this ain't doing nothing. So I just love the freedom and the flesh and blood of my people more so than I do the money. You can take it sure and play it right in Washington, let Nixon hear it. Right? And I'll be happier. See, so I'm not ducking and running from nothing, and this boldness and telling the truth makes me just overshadow sports greatly. You couldn't get Joe Frazier no box on this show and get an interesting subject like this. Nothing to talk about. How do you feel, champ? I hate to run for
You mentioned President Nixon there. I was reading a piece that Norman Mailer wrote about you recently, where he described you as the second most prominent American, second most prominent after Nixon. We might dispute that. But would you like to be president?
No.
No?
No, sir. Too dangerous. Like, in other words, here's a ship. People are dancing on the ship. A lot of money's on the ship. A lot of food's on the ship. And I cannot integrate on the ship. I cannot have equality on the ship. I'm just in the galley working. And I never could get up and see the captain of the ship. Now, all of a sudden, the man tells me, say, come on down. I'll leave out of the galley. I want you to come up here and have something to drink. What do you want? And giving me #1 spot. From the galley to the #1 spot. I said, this ship must be sinking. Why is he so nice to me now? What moved him to call me up here? Black men have been males now. One might be the president. America's in too much trouble. I don't want that job now. Something to think about, ain't it?
Right. Can I, to lighten it a little bit, away from the political thing for a while, I saw a picture of you in the paper 2 days ago, I think it was, cornered by a group of fans, mainly women, in a supermarket somewhere. Can I ask you what the problem is, if it is indeed a problem to you, about being regarded as one of the world's most attractive men and the kind of fan adulation you have from women?
I find what?
Fan worship.
From who?
Women.
Oh, I don't pay no attention to it. I don't consider myself a no attractive man. People like Tom Jones. He's in that rank, and Elvis Presley. I'm not nothing like that.
Well, whether you want it or not, you are. I mean, people for years have been saying you're one of the most attractive men in the world.
I know it. I was just... No, I don't pay attention. I've never heard that till I got to England, seriously. I've never heard this before. I've never heard this before, but I don't pay no attention. I just try to stay halfway decent looking, because boxing's a rough sport and get hit a lot. And right after the fights, I run right to the dressing room, run right to the mirror, and I check and make sure I'm still, presentable. It's a rough sport being pounded on all the time. A lot of people's features change, mainly when I fight them.
Have you ever...
You told me before the show I'm a poet, politician, comedian.
Yeah. You've
making it come true.
You've shown all of it, yeah, right. What about also being a champion? A thing that I've often wondered about. Do you get people coming up to you wanting to take a swing at you?
Swing at me?
Yeah.
Repeat that question. What did you say? Do I do what?
You know, you hear stories of some champions who say one of the problems is that every guy thinks he can fight you, wants to take you on, and he's going to prove it someday in a bar, you know. Have you ever had that at all? Never had anybody daft enough?
Oh, if a man dreamed, if he even dreamed to be, he better wake up and apologize. Hit me, walk up and just hit me. He would stand the easier chance in Vietnam with a BB gun. No, I don't. I've never noticed that. You see movies of fighter or gangsters or somebody come up and hit him. I don't have no trouble like that. Yeah. Never.
What about this other thing too that people have about the heavyweight champion of the world? They always look at him and think he must be fearless.
Fearless.
Of everything. Are you fearless? Do you have any fears of anything at all?
Yeah, I fear. I'll tell you what I really fear. I fear airplanes.
Join the club, I do too.
Yeah, and like when the flight's all right and it's smooth, I'm all right, but I'm still thinking, what if an engine blew up? What if a fool's got a bum on it? I mean, all of these, I look at I go up to the cockpit and I look at all these things they're messing with, and I said, what if one thing is just off? And we're between America and England over the ocean. I said, where would we land? Even if he don't blow up and he don't crash, where will we land? And when we land, will I be able to get my life raft out? Then when I get it out, how long will it be before they find us? Because it's night, you know. Yeah. And then will a shark come and bust the thing? And all this goes through my mind. See, so I've been on a lot of planes that hit thunderstorms where the pilot says, ladies and gentlemen, we tried to get around it, but we can't. We're going to have to, it's going to be kind of rough. And when the pilot says that, it's going to be bad. When they say it's going to be rough. And the plane starts to falling and swinging, and you see the wings look like they're going to break, and it's lightning and thundering, and you say to yourself, boy, well, I could have took a train. I could have... if I just get off this thing. So, like, I'm always in airplanes all the time, and it just worries me. Rocky Montana went down in one. One went down going to Scotland or somewhere the other day. Hunting some people just blew up in the air, and somebody saw it. And I just imagine what are people thinking, knowing the plane is falling, you're not yet dead, but you're waiting to hit the ground. It's awful.
How do you travel when you're in the States, then? You travel by road whenever you
Mostly
can?
by Rolls Royce. I'm not being paid for that commercial.
Talking about fear, do you ever get frightened before a fight? Do you ever get nerves before a fight?
I'm nervous, but not frightened. I'm nervous because I have a great insight on. I just don't see the audience. Every camera, I see millions of people. Like the Frazier fight was watched by 1,000 million people, which is 5 times the population of everybody in the United States. Just a picture arena with 1 million people. I imagine you couldn't see them all. And just think about 100 million and 1,000 million. And all those people and everything, that makes me nervous. Just the idea of me just being a humble fellow from Kentucky, got lucky in sports, and now here's the fight was piped in a place like Thailand to the government house in Arabia, and the government officials took time off to watch the fight. And just for 2 men boxing, attracting so many people of all races and nationalities. In Hawaii, I understand, they stopped, closed all the factories, and the people, they set televisions on every other street corner. People came out watching the fight on the streets, and every bar in America, every house, even traffic was still during that fight. In Madison Square Garden, 10,000 people couldn't get in, and just over one man, and just imagine all them people watching you, that makes me nervous until I get started.
And then no nerves at all?
No.
No. No. What about the business? I read a book by Jack Olson about you, Mohammed, in which he said that one theory put forward about your behavior toward your opponent before your fight was that, in fact, that this was nerves. This was a way of working off your nerves when you, like you did with Liston, and indeed all the people that you fight, where you psych them out.
A lot of time I make predictions of what I'm going to do before the fight. That makes me nervous because I've gotten so good at it until people really look for me to do it. See? If I said man's going to fall in round 5, like I predicted 5 round with Henry Cooper here, he was stopped in 5, but it was on a cut. It wasn't because he was out. But like usually when I'm on a spot with predictions, it worries me because some people really gamble and bet money on the rounds I say.
On the prediction?
And they say, if you don't get him in round 7, I'll lose my house, I'll lose my car. And I said, what? I said, did you really believe that I meant that? He said, yeah, I didn't believe it. That worries me.
Yeah. What about the this prediction thing? I mean, is that just a showbiz thing? I mean, or do you really mean it?
It's a little show business. It helps the crowd, and I mean it, but I put emphasis on it. And then a lot of time I've been lucky enough to predict 17 times what round. I missed 4, but 17 of them I predicted, which is almost a miracle.
Can you predict other things as well, apart from boxing?
A lot of things that I feel is going to happen, like a lot of people, and like sometimes, like we might go half a year without an airplane crash, and I'm flying every day, and I said, it's time for a plane crash. I mean, I don't wish for nothing like that, but I said, things are too quiet. And 2 or 3 days later, a plane crash landed in here. And it's always 2 or 3 in a row. And and a lot of times I feel a lot of things, but I can't. I'm sure we all have this built-in radar where we predict or we feel something's going to happen, and when it happened, we just say, I knew this, but I just didn't say anything about it to nobody, but you knew it.